It's been a really rough week. Excuse me. That was perfect timing. I am still not feeling it. There is no escape from this bug. I promise you, I will start streaming at a regular time once I get all this out and get the car fixed. Oh, apologies. What a great start to a stream. All right. But I promise you we will get on a regular schedule very soon. But for today, Metroid Prime drops, and it's just sad. Asmon needs to talk about something, and activists wrecked. Nexus mods allow you to change characters black, but won't do the inverse. Simply stunning. Let's get into it. I'm Alfie Animus. This is the associated guest on the Bear in Mind channel.
We've all been hoping Metroid Prime 4 was going to come out, be spectacular, and not be a letdown, but we have seen some very, very questionable clips floating around the internet. And now that the critic scores are out, some of them are complaining about issues that this has, like the characters constantly yapping. There are new clips that are circulating.
This is definitely going to be an other M situation. There are going to be people who love it. Well, not love it, but stick up for it. And then, of course, the character that everyone's talking about is being compared to Jar Jar Binks from the prequels, the Star Wars prequels.
And really, it looks like this might be another disappointing title. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I love Metroid, and I really wanted this game to come out and be good, even with some of the questionable looking graphics. I said, no, there's still hope, there's still a chance, and then we just kept getting bad clip after bad clip, and now we're only
And mind you, let's go through the history of this real quick. Metroid was announced when the Nintendo NX, what became the Switch, was announced back in, was it 2016? For the launch of 2017. It was completely scrapped from the previous developer, given to the people who made the original 3, albeit the same studio, probably not the same people as most of these things go. And I'm pretty sure it's an American-based studio, not the... I mean, it is owned by Nintendo, but... so yeah, about 4 years into development, it was completely scrapped and given to the new people, or the new old people. And this is the story we got. I can only imagine what the previous one was like.
Day away from release, and I will be streaming it to you guys on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern so that we can take a look at it together. But I have to say, my hype level has significantly dropped. It really seems like a mix between the modern Zelda games and Halo from 20 years ago. And that's a little bit of a problem for me because, yes, I do understand that the Switch is not the equivalent of a high-end gaming PC. It's not going to have the best graphics. Not every game is going to run at hundreds and hundreds of FPS. But you...
And we're always fine with that because the quality's always there. Solid gameplay, decent enough story, but the adventure is what it's about for most Nintendo games. And then also, Mario.
Expect a little bit better on a machine that still cost hundreds of dollars. And one of the major problems people had a few weeks ago were some of the characters, they were described as like tutorial characters, and they were yapping a lot, and they were just leading you to sort of your quest and getting you through the basics. But now we're finding out that
it was like Whedon-esque without the writing skill. You know what I'm saying? At least Whedon stuff is quirky. Same thing with James Gunn, so on and so forth. but most of these guys knew each other. Like Whedon was his own thing, and then there was the whole group of writers like the Rogan, James Gunn, the guy that keeps putting Paul Rudd in his movie with his family. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
That's actually not the case, and there are tons of characters like this throughout the title. So this one clip has blown up over the past day or two where a character basically goes, "Oh my gosh, it's Samus!"
Samus? It's really you. I don't even know what to say. Is this a new suit? It's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Yes, sir.
I understand that it's a
This is what I'm saying. This is Kirkman Trek kind of Drek. These people wouldn't be acting like this, not in the world that's been set up from the decades of previous, installments.
supposed to be the equivalent of like meeting a celebrity, but the way that a character like this is presented is so cringy, it's kind of insane.
Especially
Didn't
when it's
realize
a
the
game
writer
based
from
off isolation.
Forspoken could still find work. There should be no talking in Metroid, none. Aside from perhaps a simple intro like Super Metroid, these games are about isolation, feeling alone in
See?
alien worlds where inhabitants are long gone and the only life forms left are either hostile or indifferent to your presence. We also got this description from a journalist who had released their reviews, and we'll get into all of the reviews in a minute. But they said, first, let's address the elephant in the room, or more accurately, the Miles McKenzie in your earpiece. To purists, the addition of chatty support characters to a Metroid game sounds about as appealing as a Weekend with Everybody 1-2 Switch. However, their presence in Prime 4 in the form of a squad of stranded Federation troopers whom Samus rescues throughout the story isn't an issue by itself, but rather their clumsy implementation within an overall weak story. Miles is feared from those divisive initial previews turns out to be the main supporting character in the game.
Oh, God.
Oof, gracing players with his Jar Jar Binks brand of comedic quips via intercom messages and
Misa
regular
wish we could
visits
kill our
throughout the
supporting
game.
characters.
The other cast members are also flimsy caricatures, including the equally irritating Armstrong, a Samus fangirl, who winces at the bounty hunter's presence and at one point even asks for her autograph, which I think we all
Is this what happened when Kirkman Trek got canceled? They all shifted over to the Metroid Prime writers? I know the timeline doesn't work out, but fuck you, it's my story.
found out via the clip that I just showed. Those types of characters are okay in very small quantities because it can be kind of funny when that dialogue is awkwardly placed, but it's only happening maybe 2 to 3 times throughout an experience. But having to deal with a Jar Jar Binks-esque character constantly bothering you really.
And even in the movies, Jar Jar Binks was much more tolerable in the second and third movie in the prequel trilogy because he wasn't there the whole time. Look, a lot of the times these side characters are fun, but they're overly used, especially when they get their own spin-off movies. Like, I'm a huge Kronk fan, but I didn't really care for Kronk's New Groove. A lot of people say they did. I really didn't, and I love him. Oh, yeah.
Really is going to infuriate people. It's somber stuff for fans of the more grounded
thanks for the
games in the Metroid series, and powers some dated gameplay segments including escort and protection sequences that result in a game over screen if your AI companions aren't properly protected. All the while, they reward you with dialogue barks like, "Sarge, look, she's doing Morph Ball." Other characters like the stoic hunter...
And look, Metroid has been a fairly solid game series since it first came out. The original was really good. It was, isolating, and it was a really test of endurance because you didn't have a map, and you had to remember exactly where to go back when we had memories and we didn't have TikTok brain. And then as they progressed, they became more inviting, but they were still good games. Like Super Metroid is still considered one of the best, and it's one of the earlier ones. But then, Metroid Prime came out, and those are beloved, especially by the hardcore fan base. Dread came out recently. Well, Samus Returns, the remake, came out, and I think that was made by the same people that ended up making Dread, and those were both just lauded, not lauded, praised. I don't know what lauded means this early in the morning. Don't judge me. But those games were loved. They were great. I even played Dread, mostly because I got it for free because I worked at a place. But it was great. I loved it. And we had high hopes for Metroid Prime 4. I was even going to play it. I bought the remake of the original. I suck at it, but I still very much enjoyed my time with it. But this, all right.
Takabi and the emotionless droid VUE995 shows how support characters could resonate more positively in future games if handled with greater care. I just hate the fact that they have turned it into cringe millennial slop at this point. And unfortunately, this is a trend we have seen in the gaming industry so often recently. You have people who are not actually writing games for the fans of these series. They're writing games for a newer, younger crowd who they believe is going to show up to buy these games, but typically doesn't. Like, how many of the Fortnite kids are really going to want to play Metroid? Probably not a lot of them.
Yeah, not a lot. And this is one of the things I hate about my generation. I still consider myself Generation X for the most part because I always hung out with older people. I'm at the very early end of the millennials. And I hate that because my generation's the fucking worst. We are literally the worst of everything. Because of shit like this. And I love a lot of it. Like, I love where a lot of this writing comes from. The Whedon verse or whatever. All the, I loved Buffy and Firefly and all the things back in the day. And I love the first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very Whedon-esque in its comedy, but it went too far with it with people who aren't as good of writers. Like Whedon in the 90s and early 2000s, he was brought in to save a lot of scripts. I think he helped finalize the script for Toy Story and so on and so forth. He wrote for Roseanne during its prime, along with Norm Macdonald. But like this person, and it was one thing when we were the younger generation, like the young adults and early, late teenagers. But now it's people, I'm pretty sure she's a Zoomer. And now we're the goofy older people that ruined everything, that actually ruined everything. We're going to become the next baby boomers, only instead of ruining the world, we're ruining pop culture. Not that pop culture was ever great. It's a giant amorphous machine that eats everything and destroys it and then shits out and you get whatever's left when they're done. But anyway, let's continue to see what this little Asmongold bit is.
There was a time and place when that kind of celebration would have been immediately banned. A stream sniper shows up, Asmongold celebrates it. 4 years ago, Twitch would have instantly banned Asmongold. Yeah, he says that while this happened to Emeru. That's the other side of it. Yeah, he'll do fucking 8 hours talking about how it's fucked up that weird stalker-ass people show up and harass Emeru. But then he fucking masturbates with his stupid-ass, incel-ass audience when it happens to someone he doesn't like. It's called hypocrisy.
No, it's not. Do you really think that what happened to you is on the same level as that? What are you talking about? This is a mountain and a molehill.
That's hypocrisy.
No, it's not.
This is precisely what I was talking about.
No, it's not. Somebody physically assaults you is different than somebody showing a picture next to you. It's the picture of a joke. It's a meme. By the way, a meme that you've posted. You've posted the Kaya meme. It was just a guy walked up to you. He said, "Can I get a picture?" And he showed a funny photo. What are we doing here?
Loser from their...
Look, that's hilarious. Look, it was a great troll move for him to pull that picture out and Hassan not see it, but the look on his face made it seem like he did. But Hassan crashing out has been the greater part of the last couple of weeks. Let's be honest. I know, and I was talking a lot about Hassan before the Kaya thing, and then it happened, and he's kind of crashed out repeatedly, and I haven't covered it because I don't want this to be another Hassan channel. I think Nux and Pegasus and all that do a really good job at that, and even Asmongold here. But it's fun to check in from time to time and see the most recent crash out.
Their fucking fan bases to finally take the step and go outside in person. Yeah, base. Next time you should have a gun. Yeah. Also, that unwashed pussy has been running away from having a fucking conversation with me.
The conversation is, look at this person that showed the photo of a meme that I've reposted on Twitter. Isn't this the same thing as whenever somebody that you know got sexually assaulted? Wow, This is very hypocritical. You can't have a conversation with people that don't agree on basic reality.
Hassan compares his sniper being to sexually assaulted. I can already tell this line of attack. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
let's
I
hear
love
the
how
response
based
to this.
his chat's getting, Hassan. He's getting berated by his own audience now. It's starting with the 48-month subscribers, and it's going downhill from here. Okay. Most of the people that watch Hassan, I mean, I'm sure the same's true with Asmongold. It's like the Howard Stern effect. People watch him because they hate him and they love him. Like, those are two different categories, but they all watch. And the haters usually watch more than the people that love them.
I know. But it's still hypocritical.
I know it's wrong, but he's still... Oh, my God.
This is what I mean when I say there are content creators who fucking egg this shit on.
That's
I will
Hassan.
say this. Any sort of...
I love how he says this without any irony. Like, Hassan Piker has his little minions. Frogan, now the Wombat iDubbbz and his mistress or wife or whatever the fuck. Denims. Casey Tron. I was going to do a show about Casey Tron this morning because she's finally settled her lawsuit. I might do that in the morning, or I might do it for a Saturday special. Pegasus has put a lot out on this, so I might just consolidate it a little bit and put it out Saturday morning. But, yeah, man, it's...
IRL confrontation that is even in... I didn't even think this was 1% hostile. I would never support that. I would never promote that.
It's a very stupid thing for him to do. Because what if it happens to you? Content creators
What if that's already happened?
know that other content creators' addresses are fairly easy to find online, whether it be my address or whether it be Asmongold's address. What happens when this happens to you the next time you're going through a drive-thru at Wendy's?
Somebody shows a meme? I don't know if I'd survive.
Yeah,
Well, look
it'd
at this
be
guy in chat,
horrifying.
right? His full name is 100% public. We should use it. This is the kind of people that you have in your chat. Talks about Imaru. This is one of his mods to this day. Oh, yeah. This person has decided to go out, say that Imaru hangs out with every rapist that she meets. They are an administrator, a Twitch mod that has been ordained by Hassan. Attention, if you're protesting in LA today, please stop by the Kobe and Gigi mural and make sure it's still ruined. It says, I'd low-key go in heat and start leaking juice from my gaped hole in cage. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I remember
that's
this.
the
This guy's
seriously
yeah
worst
making
person.
sexual comments
Jesus.
about high schoolers. And this is the person that is farming hate on Imaru and telling everybody that I killed my mom and is a moderator for Hassan. There it is. Clean up your own house before you worry about mine. You don't want me to react to
Yeah,
your
for
stream
real.
sniping clips? I'll never do it again. If I had thought it was problematic or dangerous or put you in a weird spot, I would have never reacted to it, and he knows that.
Modding is amazing because you are able to edit your copy of your game. If you want all of your characters to look a certain way, you can change them. If you want
I
them
love
to
how it's
have
just a
outfits
face and
that the
then a white
developers
hand.
didn't create, you can add them. You can enhance the level of graphics, or certain elements in the game can be changed, and that is
And it's sad that activists and some counter activists, like, I know there's a lot of horrible trolls when it comes to mods. They put a lot of really fucked up shit in games, but that's their right. Let them do it. I'm saying, it's not like they're selling the shit. It's not like it's going to become mainstream. And if it breaks copyright, or not copyright, but breaks the rules of anything that it's streamed on, you can just get them banned. That's the beauty of it. But
is the beauty of this community, but unfortunately, modding sites are extremely inconsistent. Nexus mods will allow certain titles that let you turn white characters black, but they won't allow you to turn black characters white because then they scream racism. But that exact thing is now happening with a new Final Fantasy VII mod, and people are wrecking this site over it. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get
look, is it weird that people want to change the race of characters that they're playing with? Sure. But we can't be okay with it if someone wants to change and make it, Final Fantasy VII Black Edition. But you can't literally just change Barrett into a big, brooding white dude. It'd be funny if you could even change, because Barrett's little buddy from his past that you have to fight, I think, late disc 1, early disc 2 maybe, of the original game, is a white dude. It'd be funny if you could just swap their races and make Barrett white and his little buddy, black. Why? I mean, why not?
get into the topic. If you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I personally don't really care what people do when it comes to modding their own games. If you want to turn all of your characters black, that's perfectly fine. If you want to turn all of your characters white, that's perfectly fine. I don't think somebody should be called a racist or a sexist or a bigot for doing either, but we know that some of the sites like Nexus Mods are extremely politically motivated, and really the moderators of the site are activists through and through. If you are not pushing their political agenda, you are their enemy, and they will ban mods from people they don't like, that have opinions they don't like, and really they allow what they want on the site and then ban what they dislike. Nexus Mods has been a problem for many years at this point, and I get that there are a lot of people who still use it because they do still offer the largest selection, but luckily there are alternatives popping up like DEG mods, like Ayaka mods, all really good, though it would still take years for them to get to this level, for them to have millions of mods on their site. But Final Fantasy VII is a game that is being modded right now, and they have decided that over on Nexus Mods, it's perfectly fine to have mods that they agree with, like turning the characters black, even though in the past they have banned many mods going in the opposite direction. So Mark Kern had posted new
Is it silly? Of course. It's a silly thing. But if you can do it one way, you should be able to do it the other way. I mean, that's it. It's like the great comedy not even parable, like the old comedy saying, either everything's okay or nothing's okay. You should be able to make fun of everything. For me, it's like there are limits depending on where you are, of course. But at the same time, there's a time and a place for everything. And look, changing someone to brown to better suit or Asian or whatever, to better suit the person playing the game, that's fine. If some Indian person wants to create a mod that makes everybody in the game Indian, that's their right. I don't give a shit. And I'm not gonna, like, I might do it just to see what they look like, if it's a decently done mod. In any direction, white, black, Indian, Saudi, Egyptian. People from all over the world look different no matter what their skin tone. There's white people that look like this here, and there's white people that look like that there. Same with black, Asian. I mean, I know people like if you can change like the difference between like Korean or Japanese or Australian and English, at least original descent. But this
Final
kind
Fantasy
of thing,
mod dropped. Nexus Mods will allow mods that turn Final Fantasy VII Remake characters brown, but will ban you if you make a mod that makes brown characters white. That's just racism. If race swapping is fine, it should be fine for any swap, and I completely agree with this. If you want to make all the characters in your game brown, that's perfectly okay. Nexus Mods at the beginning of the year had removed a mod that allowed you to change Musa of Mali's character model from a black guy. They didn't particularly like this. There is actually an archive of it, but it never went back up. They never really cared about actually allowing people to release mods that they want and share cringe get good gamer master classes, and judging by their past, I personally believe that we should be worried that they didn't purchase Nexus Mods for the good of gamer.
And that's one of the things that drives me crazy, especially about BioWare specifically. When it comes to making your own character. Thank you, Shapeshifter. But it drives me crazy. No. I'm all for all the engagement I can get, trust me. But no, like, and that's the thing that drove me crazy about that Dragon Age, the Veilguard. Terrible game, by the way. But the fact that there was no real, I mean, I don't think there was a character creator at all. Like, you basically had who you were going to be. And the fact that they forced the trans story through the whole thing, whereas BioWare has always been very diverse. And if you want to play the character as straight, you've always been able to play it as straight. But if you wanted to make your character a whore or a virgin or gay or straight or whatever, that option has always been there. through pretty much, I think, all the way back to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. It's been there. You've been able to be gay or straight or lesbian or whatever in almost every single BioWare game. It's always been there. And then they went and forced this down everyone's throat, giggity. That's the biggest problem most people had with it. It was like the Lightning games from Final Fantasy. What was it? 12 or 13, I want to say. I can't remember which ones because I didn't care. Because they were... I played a bit of the first one, but it was the most linear feeling. It may have not been the most linear, but it was the most linear feeling Final Fantasy game since, I don't know, probably since the Super Nintendo or even Nintendo era. Like it was crazy, and normally you don't notice because the storytelling is that good or that crazy that you just can't wait to see what happens next. And this kind of thing just kind of sickens me. It's because, like I said, that option to live your own life within the game has always been there. And for them to make this whole multi-million-dollar gaming franchise and direct it straight at 1% of the population, and then another 1 or 2% of their allies. It's mindless. It's ridiculous. And that should never be something that we shoot for. We should have the most broad spectrum game, and that's the thing. Most people these days who are in the field, they only care about what they care about. They don't care about the games or the franchises that they're coming to be a part of. All they care about is changing it so it'll be more welcoming to people who they want to virtue signal for. And if you want to make an indie game, that's 100% fine. I don't care. Make an indie game specified for a particular group. That's what indie games are for. They're there to be beloved by the small group of people who love those games for whatever reason. And then sometimes those little indie games explode into something huge. Hollow Knight, like Shovel Knight, and a bunch of Cuphead was fairly indie when it first started. Exactly. They were never fans of these things. It's like the people who took over the Witcher series, or who are on the writer's board for the Netflix Witcher series. They don't care about the franchise. They do the same thing that all the comic book franchises do. They tell their people not to go into the lore, to basically just figure out the names and how everyone's connected, and then to make their own thing from there. All they want is a fantasy series, and they lack the creativity to create their own. And that's the biggest thing. These are voids of any creative output. I mean, I'm that way myself, but that's why you don't see me trying to change any fantasy, at least for a couple of weeks, and then I'm finally going to get to my how I'm going to save the Marvel Universe and how I'm going to save the Star Wars franchise. I haven't forgotten about those. I've been promising them for a couple of months. It's been rough. 'Tis the season. But, guys, again, I apologize for the late start. I am going to get better about it. I've been horribly sick, and I just happened to get sick right before it gets really, really cold in Texas, of all places. Well, at least cold for the South, okay? We're kind of pansies when it comes to the South. At least I can drive on snow, damn it. Even with my back wheel drive. But I very much appreciate those of you that still come here and watch the content on a daily basis. Exactly. And that's the thing. You can relate to a character, whether it's male or female, or you can relate to it on behalf of someone else. Like, I've seen characters that I loved playing as because it reminded me of a good friend of mine or a family member or someone that I've met over my many, many years on this earth. But also, we're told to show empathy, and that's another thing about empathy. You can relate to just about any character. I don't care. I liked Miles Morales. I liked it a lot better than Spider-Man 2, at least as far as the Sony Presents Marvel's Spider-Man games that have come out recently. Like, I can relate to a lot of these things. Like, Spider-Man and Static Shock are pretty much the same kind of character for me. It's an outcast teenager who's basically fighting people who would be his bullies. And that resonated with me. I don't care if, like, I love Spider-Man and I love Static Shock, and I wish DC would stop sitting on Static Shock because he's a great black character, but they don't care about putting out great black characters. They want to get a hand-me-down. And when I say they, I mean the white people in charge of these franchises that use minorities as human shields, because, you know, no press is bad press in their eyes. But it's going to come to call eventually, and they're going to have to sell to Saudi Arabia or China or all these other places, and all these great American franchises are going to go to other countries. Exactly. And one of the things that killed me was, like, the whole Barbie thing. People are saying this is a ridiculous caricature of what a woman should be. And, like, this is all these negative female stereotypes or all these ridiculous, unachievable female stereotypes. And then in the same meme it says, and this is He-Man, and it shows someone whose shoulders are broader than he is tall. And he's just ridiculously ripped. Like, no guy thinks that they can ever achieve this. They can get as close as humanly possible, and a lot of people abuse steroids to get to that point. But that's for everybody, okay? We all go through the same thing because we're all human beings. Are there going to be variances? Sure. Based on your own perspective, what you've learned, how well you were raised, or scarred for life. And, I mean, that's pretty much it. But, guys, I'm so sorry for the late start today. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. I got to throw some clothes on and jet off to work. Thank you for, coming and seeing me every day. Especially you, Shapeshifter. I always appreciate the engagement in the chat. But do me a favor, drop a like. It really helps me out. It really helps me grow. I'm always surprised at how many people watch some of these after the fact, after the live stream, and I very much appreciate them as well. We enjoy relatable characters, but we also enjoy characters that are different. Exactly. And it's always interesting to learn another perspective, even if it's something that another white person like you made up to be a minority character. Like, I'm always fascinated, like the character of Black Panther in general was written by a white dude, which is probably, and the funny thing is the guy that wrote the new white Black Panther was a black dude. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate every bit of engagement you give me. We'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm going to be on time, I promise you. Tomorrow morning, I will be on here at about 5:45, ready to give you the full news that I love giving.